Hi, my name is Hayden Day, and today I'll be bringing you some information over the history of baseball. I will be covering three topics today, and those three topics are how baseball has changed over the years, famous teams, and famous players. The first professional baseball team was formed in Cincinnati. They were called the Cincinnati Red Stockings. They didn't have anybody to play, so they decided they were going to form a league. And they got a few teams to join their league, which include the Boston Red Stockings, the Chicago White Stockings, the New York Mutuals, and the Washington Olympics. Between 1870 and now, baseball has changed many different times, in many different ways, going from being called the Golden Age to the Steroid Age. In 1920, the radio came about, and it boosted the popularity of baseball by a ton. Then newspapers came out, and they included a sports section in the newspapers, and that just helped boost the popularity of baseball even more. In the 1920s, baseball was considered the Golden Age. The 1980s is well known as the contemporary age of baseball. Free agency had just came about, and players could either finish their contract with their team, and they could re-sign after they finished their contract, or they could move on to another team depending on their preference. Before free agency, the player had to stay on his team no matter what. In the 1990s, it was well known as the steroid age. Major League Baseball had banned performance-enhancing drugs, and they decided they would start drug testing players. Players that were taking steroids had the upper hand on the offensive side of the ball. Players were starting to hit 50 home runs a year, especially during the race between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire in the home run hitting race. Before this, players were hitting nowhere near this many home runs. Some of the most famous players in baseball are the men who made baseball the much-loved game it is today. There are also ones who inspired other players, the famous ones of today. In 1920, George Herman Ruth, who was recognized mostly by the name of Babe Ruth, set the total record breaker of home runs during a season to 60. The record did not get broken until 1961 by a guy named Roger Eugene Maris. Many considered Lou Gehrig to be one of the greatest first basemen ever. He was best known as the record of 2,130 games played consecutively for the New York Yankees. Hammerin' Hank passed the Babe as the all-time home run leader in the mid-1970s, becoming one of the most famous baseball players of all time. Unfortunately, had to endure the racist threats and taunts during his career. These days, baseball fans anywhere recognize Aaron as the home run king. Now, I could talk about players that have done good in their career all day long. There are still players that do good now in their careers. But what makes those players even better? What makes those players championship caliber? What makes those players Hall of Fame? Well, normally it's how many World Series they win. But what is a World Series? A World Series is a playoff, best-of-7 game that they go through the playoff series, and then they go down to the ALCS, and then they go to the World Series. Well, the World Series is a best-of-7 game. There has been 109 World Series contests, which means they started in 1903. The American League has won 63 of those contests. The National League has only won 46. The New York Yankees have played in 40 of the 109 World Series through 2013 and have won 27 World Series championships, which is most in any Major League franchise. The Yankees have also lost more than any other club. The Yankees have lost 13. The St. Louis Cardinals represent the National League for the 19th time in 2013 and have won 11 championships, which is the second most among Major League Baseball teams. Well, sure, baseball's been changed over the years, but there still are famous players being made, and famous teams making history. Baseball has been known as the greatest American pastime for hundreds of years, and is still considered this today. Thank you.